our weekly awesomeness session here in the Shoshin Temple. And this week's theme, we're going to be looking at happiness. Now, happiness means lots of different things to different people. It can mean joy and fun. It can mean inner contentment. We're going to look at all kinds of well-being and explore all of it. So, as our tradition is here, I'm going to ring the bell. We're going to line up and we're going to make our way into the temple. So if you're there on the live stream, I just invite you to give yourself just 2 minutes to think about metaphorically entering your inner sacred space. Just being ready to cultivate well-being, joy and positivity. As each one of us enters the temple, trying to just let your mind settle to truly arrive here, to be ready for joy, to be ready for self-empowerment, self-reflection. Okay, well, as we wait for those others outside to join us, are they coming in? Oh yes, they are. I just invite everybody to stand for our intention setting. So let's make this session something great. This session is time for you to cultivate something good for you. You're here, taking some time. Sure, it's fun to be in a temple. It's fun to be spending time with each other. But let's make it awesome. If I share some ideas of happiness, let them sink through to the core of your being. As we're cultivating positivity, let's make it great. And also, not just for yourself, but for everyone around you, for your friends. The more happy you are, the happier that makes others, the happier that makes your community, the happier that makes the world. So perhaps you are thinking of yourself on this level of well-being, and you could come here and you could cultivate some of this. Actually want to free your mind and get your neural networks to start imagining epic happiness that's contagious. Because you can get there, and it takes focusing on it to do it. So I want to really get yourself envisaging that you can create awesome well-being for yourself. So let's all grab a seat and we can begin our session. Oh, actually I've just noticed the camera. I need to change it. Here we go. Whoop. To all of you out there in live stream world, thanks for joining us. And we're happy to have you here with us. All right. Okay. I would like to begin today's session with a little exercise. Some people call it meditation. Some people, when they hear that word, they think of something that's kind of boring. So we're going to do an exercise in training our own mind. And it's going to be about joy about well-being, about happiness. So I invite everybody just to get comfortable and start with the idea that we're about to do a little meditation on happiness and joy. For some of you, that's already got you imagining being happy, and you're already feeling happiness. For some of you, that sounds foreign. For some of you, it sounds curious and exciting. But I'd like you to just imagine what you would feel like if you knew that meditating on happiness just made you feel good. Now, for those of you who've been using your imagination or meditating, you can start to generate that. For some of you, that might sound foreign. But perhaps you could imagine or remember that when you meditate on relaxation, you take some relaxing breaths, or think of your body being calm, you're able to make yourself calm. Or meditating on love, you listen to a love song, sometimes it just carries you away and fills you up with love. So we all have this ability to shift how we feel by what we focus on. And we're just going to practice being even more empowered with this. So I invite you all to take a really deep breath. And when you breathe out, it can be a relaxing breath, it can be a letting go breath, it's a chance to chill out breath. It's a time for some gentle smiles. Maybe you can think of the other people in the temple and think of them thinking of joy. And many people here and many people on the live stream are just having a moment to just feel good. Maybe you can remember what it feels like to just be smiling, or feel warmth in your heart, or to feel happy. And little by little, these positive feelings start to show up in your mind, show up in your feelings, show up in your body. Maybe little glimpses, or maybe you're already feeling it and you're growing it and growing it. So then let's take another big breath, but this time with a smile on your face. Take a big, joyful breath. And just letting yourself settle in to focusing on feeling good. And for some of you, your mind is just really in that, and it's crafting, feeling happier, more joyful, expansive, happy. For some of you, you're going into a kind of peaceful calm. For some of you, your mind's doing other things. So just notice what your mind's like right now. And each little moment that feels good, each little memory of happiness, each soothing breath, just focus on them. Give yourself more and more of them. For an untrained mind, our mind can be busy, doing lots of different things. And so you're giving it a chance to let all that other stuff aside and focus it on something. So bit by bit, you're just diving more and more into the moment of peace and happiness and joy. So take another strong, happy breath. And I invite you to check your posture. maybe pull your head up high, your shoulders back. And on your next deep breath, expand your chest and just let yourself just embody feeling stronger and happier in your body. And for the last part of the meditation, I just invite you to put a smile on your face. For those of you who it's the first time you did happiness meditation and it really worked, just be excited about this newfound superpower that you're going to get better and better at. Just then maybe we got to a level 1 happiness. And with practice you can really get to level 1,000,000 happiness. It's wild what you can do with this. For those of you who've done it before, just letting yourself appreciate it, internalize it, envisage it getting bigger. And for those of you where it was a curious experience, maybe just a little moment of happiness or a little moment of calm, or maybe it didn't even catch your attention, your mind was doing other stuff. I hope that's also exciting, that there is this ability to learn to train our minds in different ways, and that's curious and inviting. Alright, so let's all just take a stretch. If you're there on the live stream, I really invite you to put your hands up, stretch side to side, make your body feel good. If you're here in the temple, I want to see you move. And welcome to today's happiness session. I just noticed here on the live stream, my colleague Dave saying, "Whoa, so cool." Dave, great to have you here. My auntie Marlene. Such a pleasure to have you with us. Cool. So anyone who's on the live stream, please jump in on the chat. I won't see them straight away, but I'll try to catch it quickly. If you have any questions or comments, please feel part of being here in the temple with us. And for anybody who's new here in the temple, I definitely want you to feel like this session is for you. I'm here running this to help you be the best version of yourself, the happiest version of yourself. We would like you to feel like this session is so I'm just fixing up the camera. Here we go. Hey, there we go, everybody. So yeah, for those of you who are here, I'm live streaming it. It's a class for everybody, but treat it like it's a class just for you. If you have any question about a meditation, any question about how does this idea about growing happiness apply when blah is happening, or how does this philosophically fit into the life or our mind, or any kind of question, make this session awesome for you. I truly hope that this session is a turning point in your life, and you can look back and be like, whoa, I was on that trajectory of happiness, and after that session I was on this trajectory of happiness. Make it amazing for you. And same with anyone on the live stream. Please throw in your questions, comments, anything, everything. All right. We just had some more people join the temple. Welcome, guys. Grab a seat. Today's session is about happiness and joy, cultivating well-being. So can I just see with a wave for the people who were here for our little happiness meditation? Have people done happiness or joy or positive feeling meditation before? Was that new to everybody? Awesome. So it blows my mind that the ability for us to just focus on a different feeling and do it, it's such kind of straightforward thing, and it can change our life so wildly, and almost nobody knows we can do it. It's so exciting to me. I really think that this will change the world. You know, imagine a world where everybody wakes up and they're like, all right, how do I want to choose today? How do I want to choose to feel today? All right, I'm going to crank up my happiness to level 20. I'm going to crank up my love to level 50. I'm going to crank up my peace to level infinite. All right, now I'm ready for the day. And that may sound like unrelatable if you haven't done happiness meditation or practiced it. But it truly is something we can do. We shift how we feel, we shift our mindset. It transforms yourself. So I'm really excited about that. I'm really excited about you having that into your life. And I'm also wildly excited about the world that's going to come as people know that they get to choose how they want to feel in their life. There's a famous quote from one of the great modern meditation teachers. Everyone will know who he is. I'm not so much into like who's the person, it's the content that's important. And they asked this great teacher, why are you happy all the time? And he looked kind of surprised and thought about it for quite a while and said, because it feels good. And in many cultures, that answer's kind of a bit shocking. Like many of us think we need a reason to feel good. Whereas from the meditative perspective, it's like, are you feeling good? Are you feeling loving? Are you feeling peaceful? And what are you going to choose? And he chooses happiness because it feels good. He's also famous for his laugh and for the joy he brings to others. So maybe he also chooses happiness because he knows that it's a wonderfully life-enriching feeling. So I just want to pause for a moment and just let everybody envisage having a part of your day where you take a breath to smell the flowers, where you savor the beautiful moments, or not even connected to flowers or the bright blue sky. You just take moments to feel good, to feel your body and let it feel peaceful, to feel your mouth and activate the muscles around the edge, to bring the smile on, to bring the joy in your mind, to imagine the happy parts of your brain activating like fireworks through your mind. I want you to envisage yourself having that as something you do throughout the day. So in a moment I'm going to ask for questions or comments. So as you're envisaging it, I want you to really think, like, wow, what if this simple shift in how I use my mind, if I do this, and it wildly makes me happier, progressively more and more, peaceful, strong, joyful. And as you imagine it, maybe you'd have any questions or thoughts about it. So I hope as you imagine it, you're also imagining feeling peaceful and joyful right now. Come on in, welcome, grab a seat. Everybody's just taking a moment to imagine that if every day they took some peaceful breaths, throughout the day they just took a moment to smile and to think about joy, or not just think about joy, but to be joy. What kind of feelings they would choose and how good it would feel. So for those of you who just joined us, I invite you to think about it or imagine it or practice that just for a moment. All right, so does anybody have any thoughts, questions, comments about that idea or that practice or anything else that came to mind related to cultivation?
What would you
Dawn of the Gamer?
say the best way?
Hang on,
What would you say
you're
the best?
very quiet for me. Let me crank up the volume on you.
Hold
Try
on,
again.
wait, no, no, it's my mic. Hold on, I'll take care of it. It's my
Oh,
mic.
we
I
got you
was
now. Yep, that's better.
Yep, there we go. So, what would you say when it comes to motivating someone else?
That's a big
What's the
question.
approach? You see so many people and like you're motivated, you want to get things done, you want to go places, you're uplifting, you got the energy, and then you see someone else and like they have no motivation. You say, "Hey, look, there's this book. You read this book. It has all the answers to all of your problems." You can't even get them to read the book. The book only takes an hour to read it. Or you see them waste their time 6, 7, 10 hours a day doing something that gives them absolutely no return. So how do you motivate someone to even literally help themselves and rather help someone else or you? So like the whole question, I guess, circles around motivating another when you yourself are already motivated.
Um, if I was a master of that, I think the planet would already be enlightened. So so I think
Yeah, I
it's
know, right?
yeah. Um, so the times I've had the best success in that is when I just full power focus on myself. If I am just vibrating joy and enthusiasm and making it contagious, um, that has been the secret sauce. Also, there's definitely people where I was attached to their happiness or some image I had of what their life could be, and it I wasn't able to share that with them or spark that within them, and ultimately, I think that brought us both unhappiness. So ultimately, I would suggest um, your intention to motivate them. I would, if someone asks for your help and asks for you to engage, yes, then you work on crafting something awesome with them. But if they haven't, I would suggest to more think of it like you're sowing seeds of awesomeness. Put out your positivity, put out your contagiousness, um, throw it out into minds everywhere you go. And if someone doesn't want to keep up with you, then they can be your friend that you chill out and watch movies with, or that you laugh with, or whatever you used to do with them. And the go getter things you want to do, find the people that want to be go getters. You can keep inviting, but I um, would caution against being attached to their response. Um, Other things, that might not be a very fulfilling answer, and I wish that I had a great, excellent answer that was better. But I think that's the best answer is really you creating your best life and connecting with other people to make your life more amazing, so it's easier for other people to see it, and then that bigger thing is more inviting. Um, I think that's what we have to do to make a happy, enlightened, positive world. I have felt so much more enriched coming here to hang out with you guys in this community than all of the people in my day to day life that I try to spread positivity to. If someone actually wants to listen and engage, it's just so much better. And Not to say, hey, we don't care about the others. Like, it's so admirable and lovely that you care about those people around you. I would just encourage you to focus on the things that help you lift up more. It makes it clearer, hey, there's a whole community of people that are positive. Um, then it's more inviting to those other people. So yeah, I wish
I
that I had
understand
some.
what you're saying. It's just it. Not to interrupt you. I mean, and I know which I know you wish you can like if you can't get someone to save their own life, do something to save their own life. It's hard to get them to do something with you. So I like I get what you're coming where
Yeah.
you're coming from. It's just like it's just in the sense of how many people do we have to dump? How many people do we have to leave behind to keep moving forward? You know what I
Well,
mean?
I wouldn't phrase it as that.
It's like it
I
just gets. It's almost. I know, but you may
I
not
mean, you
agree.
can definitely
Dumping may
phrase it
not
as
be
that,
the.
but um,
Yeah, you could. You
yeah.
don't want to, but I mean, how many people do you? I mean, how long of a shadow do you need to cast? You know what I mean?
So
How
I
many
mean, you
people do
don't
you have
have
to
to
keep
spend
putting
all
behind you?
day, every day, doing your motivated dreams. There's definitely times where you can
Hmm.
catch up with your old friends and hear their stories, and hear how they're happy, and ask them questions to see into their world the things that enrich them. Um, when you're chatting with them, you can give them ideas, little snippets. Maybe you want them to read the book and have a whole toolkit to be awesome, and they don't want that. But maybe each time you talk
Exactly.
to them, you give them one tool, and 2 years later, they've got a toolkit. Um, you can ask people, like, what do they want? And then see what tools or ideas you have to answer the questions that they're asking. Um, you can practice without any of the results you expected. Maybe you want them to cultivate happiness intentionally, or maybe you want them to use their spare time to follow their dreams. But maybe what you need to practice is just really caring for them, letting them know that you do care about them and you hope they're okay and you hope they're happy. And maybe rather than, hey, I expect you to read this book and make your life great, maybe you could frame it as, hey, I do care about you. And I have these hopes and dreams for you. But whatever you choose, I want happiness for you and I want you to be well. Mm. There's this concept in some meditation schools of skillful means in how we share things. And it's like this exploration of all the different stories you could tell, all the different tones of voice in which you could share something. Every different person is going to relate to different things. So you could kind of think of it as like a video game. Each person's mind is a different level or a different game, and like exploring what's the thing that sparks excitement in them or that they really relate to. Um, and you said how many people do we have to dump? Um, there's 7, almost 8 billion people in the world. And if you focus on the people who happen to have been around you, how many people are you then dumping by default? So perhaps finding the people who make you come more alive is actually like, perhaps just look at the flip side. Like, you're then really connecting with people, and you might
Right.
dump an old friend for a month and go and
And
like find some people who really make you come alive. And then when you see your old friend, you're like, "Whoa, I've been hanging out with this cool crew," and we're like all excited, and then you may then be able to bring more love, excitement, and positivity to that old friend's life. So,
hmm,
does anyone
I
else
think that's
here?
like a very black and white way to see the world as like, people that aren't as capable in your own personal views to kind of just consider it that way. Whereas I feel like every individual offers their own equally unique benefit towards the greater picture and whole. I don't feel like anyone's trash. I just feel like a lot of people are misunderstood.
Absolutely. Being able to see each person for what their strengths are, or just how they're feeling and what their life and their perspective is wonderful. To bring those two ideas together, if you have things that you know are helpful, and maybe there's someone who you know is suffering, or you know that they don't want to be suffering, and you have something you just wish you could give to them, but they're not open to
I
hear it.
feel with how much we have available in this world that happiness or how much happiness that you have in your life is very much a choice for a lot of people, at least in the first world, where
I
you
don't know
could
if people
choose,
are aware of the
I guess
choice
if
they
you
have, though.
like being around. Yeah,
That's
whereas I
common,
feel like if
yeah.
somebody comes here and then still decides to, I guess, choose unhappiness, maybe there's, I don't know, something else that they need to look into more personally. Whereas a lot of times by just casting, I don't know, aside people who need a bit of an extra help, like a personal touch, I feel like society is very quick to do that,
So
to
I
just kind of
actually
cast
wasn't
them
trying to
rather than,
say we dump them. What I was meaning is, hey, focus your time and energy on the people who make you come alive. The
okay,
other people
yeah,
will
because that
still
was
be
like some
there.
very strong wording
Yeah. So
to
yeah,
agree on, I guess.
yeah, I definitely want to say that focusing on different people will take your life in different directions, and I don't encourage you to just dump some people and say, hey, um, you guys don't care about your potential, I'm out of here. They'll still be your friends, still be shining love and care out to everybody. And perhaps over time, your life might go in really different directions. I mean, regardless of who you focus on, in 5 years, 10 years, you will have moved down a certain path, and some people will have gone, and other people will have come into your life. So that's definitely going to happen no matter what. So you can choose which path you want to go on. And if you're still shining out love and care to everybody, you give people more chances for the paths that you think are great.
Yeah, I just see it as almost like a vice in a way, whereas if you feel that you're doing good personally, maybe you could spend more time kind of paying attention to those friends that you know could use the care, whereas maybe they're not doing so well now. But I would see it as more of like a risk assessed time investment rather than dumping.
Dawn, I
If
want
we're
to
gonna,
I, I
I want to jump in
no,
with a
I
quick
understand
story
you
about that.
completely, I guess. But yeah,
So I spent decades where I was just this like evangelist for brain programming and changing the world, and I was hanging out in all kinds of parts of society, from criminals and dropouts to literally kings and princes, and everything in between. And some of my most cherished memories are the people who were like really down and out, causing harm to others, trashing themselves, and they would literally like cover their ears and run away when I talk about positivity sometimes. And then 3 or 4 years later, a few of them came up to me and they're like, hey, we just ridiculed you when you were trying to be positivity. But it stuck. And I didn't realize it at the time, but I realized it a little while later, the power of what you said. And for the last few years, it's been really helping my life. And I hadn't seen them for 4 years because I'd been focusing on other people. I'd gone elsewhere. But in those 4 years, these positive seeds that I had sown, it took a while for the seeds to blossom, and I didn't get to see that. But they came back and told me years later that it had. So even if you're not getting the results you want when you're caring for others, just know you're giving them options. You're planting seeds. So Lemon Wire, thanks for bringing that compassion and caring back to the perspective. Hey, Dawn wanted to say
No
something.
problem. That's a really important point too, that it's not just the individual, but everyone else around that individual saw the change as well, and then that they were able to push through it. So that kind of motivates everyone around them too that interacts with a person like that.
Dawn, did you have something you wanted to say?
I think I got a little off track with what I had been saying. It was more in the sense like when you come to a person comes to a point in their life where they're old enough, and you have to say, okay, they're where they are because of who they are and what they choose to do. And it's not about dumping people, but the thing is, some of us are in like a race car moving forward. We love to learn, we love to grow. What doesn't serve us, we just shed it off. We love to learn new things. We don't get stuck in dogma. I'm not going to make something political. We're not conservative. We're progressive in the means of like we're always evolving mentally. We always want to push our consciousness further than we can go. I believe that we're here just to learn more than we know, to feel more than we know, and experience more than we have, and to grow consciously, because mentally, and when we leave, that's all we're taking when we leave here is, our mental capacity and how much power we have. The thing is, if you're next to someone and they're just standing still, and if you're moving an inch every day, eventually you'll go a mile, and you just won't see them anymore. You know what I mean? Like, you're just not on the same level. So, and it's hard when you look at someone and it's like, hey, just do some simple steps, and you just can't even get them to do 2 steps. It's just it's kind of hard always to always have to
I've been
let go
there
of
too.
people.
I feel like it's a blessing in
Saying.
disguise that these days we're able to choose our own path, and well, at least those of us that have that freedom are able to kind of pick the people who are in your life, because the people that you spend the most time with have a huge impact on your environment or how you take care of yourself. So I would just it sounds like you've done your best for this person, so I wouldn't call that necessarily a dump in any regards. I feel like you did your very best for this person, and that's admirable. But
one half of what he's saying is like you love someone, and you just want the best for them. You don't want to let them go. That's why I was asking how you motivate somebody. It wasn't just because like you want to shut them off or dump them so you yourself can get ahead. It's like how you said you just love them so much. Like you both are trying to say the same thing, and you love somebody so much. But
as long as it's
people
within your scope of
are
like
often,
happiness.
and I would say this for myself and everybody else in here, like we are our own worst enemy. No one will ever be a greater enemy to us, and no one will either or be a greater
I'd be
friend
careful
to us.
not to internalize that thought. I hope we're also all thinking that we're our own best champion. Dawn, I'm just careful there because if a thought can be painful, I don't want to just let it settle into people's brains. Yeah.
Well, I mean, it's equal. I mean, we are our own. We are our own creation. We are the accumulation of our own thoughts and emotions, and we're either our best friend or our worst nightmare.
So, Dawn, I wanted to respond that So without a doubt, life goes on and things change, and who's around you is going to change. And I hope that you find ways to inspire and connect with those people you care about. And you were saying if you move an inch each day, in a few years you'll be apart. But you may still think of them and call them. You may see them at old reunions. You may bump into them every now and then. So I hope that forever there's a chance that you'll be a source of joy, happiness, inspiration in their life. And I also hope that if your lives do move apart, that when they think of you, it's all kinds of inspiring, positive memories. I mentioned skillful means before, so you could ask yourself, how could you be? How could you express that when they think of you, they have these positive memories? What are these seeds that you've given them? Recommending a book, if you just say it, hey, you should read this book, they're not going to remember that. They're not going to feel good about it. If you're like, hey, this book is like amazing, and I think of you when I think of this book, it could help you with this thing and this thing, then maybe that's a memory that might stay with them. Maybe they don't want to read a book, but maybe sharing a story that sticks with them, or a hug that sticks with them. Or, it's COVID. If they're not in your bubble, I wouldn't recommend hugs at the moment. But you creating interactions with them that are awesome for both of you, that's the best answer I have to the question. Just being creative, like what emotions and images and memories do you want to share with them? And for the question of do we just hang out with the people that race us to enlightenment or to be billionaires? Or do we spend all our time with compassion for whoever happens to be in front of us? That's a balance. It's a question of life. Where do we put our time? I know I've definitely spent more time in the compassion for whoever's around me than was good for me. I wasn't able to help as many people because of doing that. And so now I'm nudging more towards hey, what's going to help me do the most for the world? Being able to do that while still being compassionate and loving to everyone around us, I think that's probably the way to go. But it's an exploration as we move through life. But I want to bring that question back to today's topic of your happiness and your well-being. And I mentioned earlier, hey, as you're sharing ideas with that person or caring for that person, to do it in a way that's non-attached. So yeah, ultimately, I want every one of us to always be our source of not just enthusiasm or joy, but of wild happiness, of profound peace, of awesomeness. And so when you're thinking of the people around you, I hope you craft every thought to just be full of love and full of positivity. So even if they never read any of the books you suggest, you still just appreciate the way they smile or the reasons that you cared about them in the first place. Shape it so that your experience is just all good. And I think if you do that, you also have the most chance of them being inspired by you, because they'll feel the love and they'll feel the positivity, and then they'll probably pay more attention to what you say and what you do. Creek just wrote on the chat, he loves us all so much, my friends. Beautiful ease, wisdom and peace is in your every step. So yeah, I guess to step back from that question, if in every moment, in every part of our life, we cultivate how we want to feel, we shape our life to be beautiful, inspiring, exciting, enlightening, peaceful, brilliant, successful, whatever it is you choose, if you craft your life to be that, it's most likely that you will then have the community that's also that, and that you'll then have the best possible impact on the people around us. So Dawn, that was a very thought-provoking question, and I hope there were some answers there that you can take with you.
I found it helpful, and I appreciate it. It's one I've often come up against in all kinds of manners of life, not just from like my personal life, my business life as well. It's how do you get people to take risks? How do you get people to think out of the box? How do people get people to think in a manner that they wasn't imprinted on them as like a pattern and break out of patterns they're in? So I was curious what you would say.
Okay, so some other thoughts around that is, I did mention trying to find the people who have that mindset. Perhaps you could actively think, where would I find the risk takers and the people who think laterally? And go to some of those meetups. Bring more of those people in your life. Perhaps saying some words to the people around you about risk taking is just not able to break through their box. Maybe put on a little workshop. Draw up some diagrams and create a format in which they can engage with your ideas in a way that is different than just a conversation. Definitely, if you want to have these impacts on your employees, your colleagues, your friends, there is ways to explore.
I want to break through the box.
Yeah, there are different ways of doing it. Maybe show an epic film. Maybe guide a meditation for them. Maybe invite them to the temple. Maybe put on some epic, inspiring music while you tell them the story. Yeah, be creative with the ways that you share it. And for everybody else, I also hope we bring positivity and joy to those around us in epic, fun ways. Make your life this creative expression game, but not just for others, for yourself. When you think about happiness meditation, some of you might have imagined 1 million people laughing and there's laughs just pouring over you. Some of you might have been like, yeah, I could maybe be a bit happier. So the intensity in which you, or not just intensity, the creativity, the memorableness in which you present different ideas to yourself has a huge impact. So as you're engineering your mind or engineering your life, I invite you to also be creative. When you go to meditate or practice positive thinking or cultivate different states, put on some different hats. What would it be like to think about this if I was in my most hilarious state of mind? Or what would it be like to do this in my CEO state of mind? Or if I was a 3D animator making movies, how would I envisage this into my brain that would be epic and memorable? You can be creative with how you express things to others and to yourself. And really it's a pretty core thing. Like, what do you put into your mind? What do you put into other people's minds? Oh, Lemon Wire just wrote on the chat, their VR chat crashed. I'm glad you told us, Lemon Wire. I was worried you left because you thought we were being not compassionate enough to those people who are stuck standing still for a chapter of their life. But yeah, Dawn, I definitely want to reiterate, if someone looks like they're standing still, maybe they're moving in a different direction. Maybe they have some strengths that you could ask more to see. Maybe they're thinking about things in a different way. Maybe they're hearing everything you're saying and they're just powering up, ready to to implement it all sometime very soon. So yeah, always be open that every moment you have with someone, it may be changing their life, even if you don't see it. But also be open to them changing your life. Maybe they're doing something awesome in a way that you're not even able to see because you're going this way. So be open to learning and hearing. Alright, I think I want to bring it back from motivating others, back more to this practice of well-being for ourselves. So Dawn of the Gainer, Yasmin, as you walked in, we had just finished a little brief happiness meditation. And in a moment, I'm going to guide another one. But before we do, I just want to describe a bit about happiness meditation. So I discovered happiness meditation while doing breathing meditation, the kind of mindfulness meditation where you just single pointed, focused on your breath. Our minds can be busy, and when you just breathe, you let everything stop. But then other stuff happens, but then you breathe and you let it stop. And then other stuff happens, but you breathe and you make it stop. And you have this single pointed consciousness. It's a way to reset the mind. It's like turning the computer off and on. All the memory that's being wasted, all the cycles that are being wasted, you just clear it all. And you're just back into full power. So I was there just breathing, single pointed awareness. So I was able to watch my mind and every little part of my consciousness so closely. It's another superpower that I wish everybody had. This stopping all of the mind. And then able to watch so closely and perfectly choose all the activity they want to have in their brain. So anyway, I was in this still state. And while you're there, you may find moments where you're just filled up with love. Or you may find moments where you're like, that thing that I was always churning over, it actually doesn't matter. And some issue you had for a long time can just completely disappear because the stillness just let it dissolve. It's like in stillness meditation, profound things happen. I was sitting there one time, and then I noticed happiness, the part of myself that was joy. And it wasn't happy about something. It was just happy. You know, when someone's nice to me, it makes me happy. When I have something delicious, it makes me happy. When it's a beautiful day and I'm taking the time to appreciate it, it makes me happy. So I noticed the happy thing, not the things that made the happy, just happy. And I put my attention in there and I was like, this is happy. What if I follow this thread and go into more happy? And I just delved into joy. And for those of you who've meditated and had moments where this peak amazingness arises in meditation, perhaps you can imagine pure joy, being carried away into infinite joy. I'm so grateful that I had that experience because I now see the same thing with practices around gratitude. If every day you focus on gratitude, you'll just cultivate more and more gratitude. Same with compassion. The more you practice feeling warmth for others, you'll feel more warm every day. the more you practice wishing well for others, the more every day you'll be overflowing with wishing well. The more you practice peace and inner stillness, you'll have automatic peace and inner stillness. And each of those practices can be pitched as like different things. Here's compassion meditation, or here's stillness meditation. But now I just see them all as, hey, whatever you focus on is what you get. They're all the same practice to me, just different flavors. So what my hope for every one of you is that the ability to focus on a feeling and go into it is something that you get really, really good at. And it's something that you do every day. You start your day by turning up the bliss, turning up the peace. When it's time to be driven and excited, you make that feel more powerful and awesome. And then you craft it some more. Hey, I want to have some class and focus on that. Or when it's time for a party, you create the perfect state of mind to make the party amazing for yourself and everybody. Or when it's time to see family, you create the most loving and warm and open version of yourself. In every situation, there's ways that you could create your state of mind to be more amazing. Massively more amazing. You know, if this is your unchosen state of mind, I'm not talking about just making a couple of tweaks. I actually invite you to imagine, well, how amazing could I be? In this business meeting I'm going to go to, what would it be like if I was a billionaire? Jumping on the table. Bill Gates used to jump on the tables of the early days of Microsoft because he was just so excited that what they were doing was going to change the world. Or if I'm about to get to a party, what if I was the most expressive person ever who just made everybody cheer and be happy? I invite you to, these are just two examples. You might not relate to them at all, but I invite you to expand your mind and imagine the most amazing person you can imagine. Even things you don't normally relate to. You might have your bubble of what you think's normal, but I invite you to imagine other ways of being. When we're able to focus on different states and become them, it can empower us to be able to explore more. You can be anything. You can be anyone. So, just like you may find yourself moving away from some people, I also invite you to move away from who you were and be the most creative, expressive version of yourself. I spent some time with traditional European spiritual practitioners. They were trying to recreate, or perhaps some of them even had lines of unbroken practices from thousands of years ago, before the dominant religions came in and took over. And one of the practices I saw in a lot of those European traditions was this idea of having a month of personality freedom. What would it be like to be an actor and for a whole month just be a completely different person? Just to free your mind, to snap out of all of who you were. So it's something you might like to try, or at the very least, I hope you envisage it to be able to free yourself from your current idea of you and then be able to be who you choose. So, given that idea of mental freedom and being able to choose and being able to cultivate, I'm going to take us on a happiness meditation. So I invite everybody to get comfortable. Foxy looks like they're lying down. If you want to lie down, that's great. Or if you want to sit up straight, that's great. If you're sitting in a chair, maybe shake your shoulders and your spine. Just loosen up your body. Wiggle your fingers and toes. And some people are like, oh, meditation is very serious. Why am I jiggling and loosening up? The better your body can feel, the better your mind can feel. So then I invite you to take a really deep breath. And you can start to imagine over the next few minutes, you're going to let your mind become peace and calm. And then in the peace and calm, you're going to find some smiles, some positive feelings. Sometimes when I practice this meditation, it turns into hours of epic laughter. Sometimes when we practice happiness meditation, it turns into deep inner comfort and bliss. So you could just imagine you're going to be able to just shape and grow ever positive feelings you choose. And so, with that intention, we're now going to just let all the activity of the mind stop. All the thoughts, all the other stuff that kind of interferes with our focus. Imagine if that all just disappeared over the next 3 breaths. So some of you made those breaths about stillness, and you've already felt your whole self shifting into a still, powerful state of mind. Some of you didn't know what to do in those breaths, but you noticed that you were thinking stuff. So we're going to take 3 more breaths, and I invite you to hear every moment and just feel stillness, like you're bringing all your concentration into just the breath. Hear the breath, think the breath, be peaceful in the breath. And appreciating whatever peace or calm you made. And then notice your body. We're going to relax the body. Scan through the body and find anywhere that feels relaxed. Maybe your fingers feel good. Maybe your ears feel good. Maybe the oblique muscles, the side of your core, feels good. Maybe your eyes feel relaxed. Scan through, and everywhere that your attention touches, let it relax. Imagine it being perfectly relaxed. Sometimes I'll notice a part of my body that feels a little tight, tense. And so I imagine that part just expanding, letting go, the tension just disappearing, being replaced with ease. So you can imagine this ease and calm in your jaw and in your shoulders. And in your chest. And in your back. And in your legs. Take a few deep breaths and just enjoy the feeling across your whole body. Whatever nice feeling you've made, just enjoy it. Some of you will be having feelings that we don't have words for. Your consciousness has profound stillness. Your body feels perfectly at ease. Each moment has a peace. It's just so different than everything else. Some of you will find you feel very empowered. Everything else has disappeared, so you could feel or think anything and really feel it with your whole self. If there's any exciting ideas, just let them settle for a little bit. We're still just breathing and appreciating the good feeling. And I invite you to imagine if every day you give yourself 10 peaceful breaths to relax the breath and the mind, the body. Just creating feeling really good every day. And you can cultivate more than just peace. Look what happens as I say caring and kindness. smiles, happiness, joy. And next I invite you to guide your own meditation. Perhaps you'd like to move more into joy, joy, joy. Or perhaps you'd like to move more into smiles, happiness. Maybe whatever positive feeling you would like to practice. Imagine filling your life up with positive feelings that you choose. Maybe they're feelings you don't even have words for. Just let yourself explore really good feelings and let them grow. As you keep going more and more into these feelings. If you've just joined us, we took very slow, peaceful breaths. Once our mind felt calm, we then just focused on smiles and joy. Just let everything else disappear as you practice good feelings for yourself. If you're already deep in the meditation, you might dive into the joy. You ride that wave for a little while. And then when you find that part of your attention is coming back, you can do it again. Just breathe. Let the mind become still. Let the body go even deeper. And then cultivate an even more beautiful feeling. Feel free to give yourself whatever you need. Perhaps what would be most helpful now is a sense of ease in life, or a feeling of calm, steadiness. Maybe a feeling of step by step, you do everything you need to do, and you focus on the things that enrich your life. Maybe what would cultivate the best things for you right now would be a deeper feeling of love or appreciation of those people in your life. Maybe you're sitting in your seat, laughing in hysterics, exploring bigger and bigger joy than you ever knew was possible. I invite you to imagine being 1,000,000,000 times happier. Stretch your mind there over the next 50 breaths. Just letting yourself explore whatever joy, positivity you choose to cultivate right now. Take a deeper breath. Let it shift into something more easeful. Now that was 15 minutes of meditation. And so I invite you to imagine giving yourself 15 minutes every day to make yourself feel more blissful, more centered, more strong. And every time you practice it, it'll feel better, the positive feelings will come on faster, you'll be able to make them even more joyful, you'll be able to craft them for different situations. Imagine yourself as a full-powered, conscious being, chooses bliss and joy and awesomeness every day. Practicing how to be in a way that spreads joy and inspiration to others. Practicing how to love and how to care in a way that's inviting and inspiring. And it's non-attached. It's just your being your own amazing self. And you're appreciating and loving everybody for who they are, for where they are. Imagine how you'd feel if your whole perspective of humanity was every person, just loving them, appreciating them, completely at peace with everybody, completely at joy with everybody. And for the last 2 minutes of the meditation, remember what you want to remember from the meditation, or decide what you want to decide from the meditation, or affirm, re-strengthen what you want to re-strengthen. When you're ready, you can look around at the people in the temple and hope for their happiness, for their strength, appreciating that we've all had different but beautiful moments. You can look up at all the people on the live stream, or all the people who ever watched that meditation, and just hope for the positivity, the ease, the bliss. Hopefully millions of people over the next millennia. And the time you just practice for yourself, just appreciate it. Keep practicing it. Keep strengthening it. And when you're ready, maybe you want to stretch, maybe you want to smile, maybe you want to let out a laugh. Just re-energizing your body. Remembering a 15-minute exercise. I hope it's something profound and awesome you could give yourself every day, maybe even a few times a day. So I'd love to hear people's experience. How was that meditation for you?
I was able to touch some of that joy you talked about. Really refreshing after really hard week. It was tricky, you know, it was kind of a roller coaster. There was a lot going on, but there were times where I was able to touch the joy, and then I was peace and stuff like that. It's something I want to definitely get better and better at.
Beautiful. Thanks for sharing. I hope the roller coaster, that you'll remember the ways where you calmed it and get better and better at calming that. And the joy that you glimpsed, maybe there were moments where it was like a profound joy. And the more you know that, the more you remember it, the more it comes into your way of being and thinking. Or perhaps it was just getting back to your good joy, and that's great. Something you can give yourself every day, getting off the roller coaster and bringing the joy back into all the parts of your life. Thank you for sharing. Would anyone else like to share? Foxy?
I felt quite calm and relaxed, but this is like one of the first meditations I've done in many years, so I'm not really good at it yet. Out of
You know,
practice.
feeling calm and relaxed is pretty great. I'm glad you got calm and relaxed. Yeah. Sounds to
Yeah,
me
that
like
part
you.
tends to be easy enough.
Cool. Well, you're very lucky. And you know, there are people who've been meditating regularly for years, but never done anything around joy meditation. And so that can be new for them, and it takes them a while to find what it is to put their attention into joy. So I'm just happy that you're here and you gave it some time, and I hope you'll keep cultivating more and more joy every day. Oh, I have a question. So calm and relaxed is pretty easy for you, and I'm so glad if you haven't meditated much for a while, I'm so glad you're here with us to like kickstart that again for you. So the calm and the relaxed is easy. Were there moments of smile or moments of appreciation, or when I talked
I felt
about
positive emotion, but in general, I'm not a very emotional person, so I feel like maybe it's my preconception, but that's probably going to be harder for me to do. But maybe that's me stopping myself. I don't know. But I didn't feel negative emotion.
positive emotion is great. I wish everyone in the world had at least positive emotion. That's awesome. Also, you mentioned you're not a very emotional person. So that may be just the story you have about yourself, but maybe that's also completely okay. Maybe you cultivating positive states of mind might be the optimal for you. Or maybe cultivating bliss and laughter might be something that would enrich your life. Just
Like
like
to try
any
it.
muscle, it's something that we can build.
Yeah, it does sound worth trying for sure.
Thanks for being here and for sharing. Yasmin, would you like to share?
I'm good.
I think your mic's doing the similar thing as what Dawn did, but I think you heard you said you're good, so that's good.
She said she's good. Yeah, that I can hear her right next to me.
Oh, cool. How was the meditation for you, Dawn?
I like to stay in. I say I have this mentality that I like to stay balanced, in the sense that I don't like to go too high. I don't like to go too low. I just like to keep things even. I know that might sound a little odd to you. It's like maybe an emotional state, so that way I don't have so many ups and downs, like a lot of people complain about. It's kind of like maybe you think of it like this: well, some days it's going to rain, and some days the sun's gonna shine, and I don't know. I just walk through the rain as I walk through the sunshine, in that sense. So I
I
try to
would
keep my mind balanced at all times.
I would propose to you that um everything you just said is a program for your brain. And they sound like great programs. You have this balance and calm, whether it's rainy or sunny, you walk through. It sounds like it's not just neutral. It sounds like it's a positive steady. Am I right?
Right. Mhm.
And
That way I don't. Yeah. No, that way I don't have to deal with the lows. I just take it as it comes, and I save the good stuff for when the bad times happen, you know? That
Mm.
kind of makes some sense.
So yeah, what I was going to say is that people who say that it's ups and downs, actually what I propose to people is they just shift their window, that your worst is pretty good and your good is awesome. But if you don't want to do that, I also would suggest for this kind of well-being meditation to make your calm a deeper calm, to make your equanimity more beautiful. The way in which you cultivate your consciousness is totally up to you. So I invite you to envisage crafting the most amazing thing you can within the way that you want to do it. There was a great monk that I saw at the Australian Buddhist conference, and he described equanimity as this ocean of peace within us that is so still and so enormous that nothing could shake it. And so I like to think of having that as my inner foundation. So my inner self is this pure stillness and calm. And that way, when I choose to dive into bliss, or I choose to be excited, or when I choose to drive a business meeting with passion, my inner core is still the stillness, and then the positive states are things that I've chosen. That might be an idea that at some point may be helpful for you. But yeah, the way you described your steady, I don't know if you use the word positivity, but your steady, calm positivity through everything, that sounds wonderful. I think it's a very beautiful state that you've cultivated.
Thank you. It took some time, I'll tell you that. It just took some time, you know? Break
And
free from the highs and the lows.
so my first response when you said that is I posit to you that that's a program, or it's a script you've cultivated, and it took time to practice that script, and you've got there. So I guess what I was trying to suggest is, if you choose another script, you can also cultivate that. So the way I like to think of emotions is that everybody kind of has a window. Our society tends to say that, you know, on a rainy day you're kind of down, on a happy day you're kind of up. But then there are definitely people who their window is a lot more sad. Their best day is not that happy. And then there are people who their disposition is like their worst day is smiles and their best day is joy and excitement. And yes, there are some people who fluctuate it a lot, but most people, they kind of have this window. And it's not fixed. You may hang out with some like downer people for a couple years and you'd be like that, and then you move into a group of people who generally have a happier disposition and your window will shift. So my perspective when I'm thinking of cultivating well-being in myself is that I'm shifting my whole window. My worst down is still great, and my ups are love and joy and happiness.
Right. You can't see a rainbow without some rain, you know what I mean? So, you have to take it as it comes.
Would anyone else like to share their experience from the meditation? Or any questions? Oh, Bobby's just tuned in on the live chat, sending his love to everybody. It's great to have you here, Bobby. Well, it's almost time for us to wrap up. So if there's no more questions or comments, I think it's time for us to stand and finish with our dedication. So I invite everybody to stand up. And let's dedicate the time that we spent tonight to our self tomorrow, to ourself for next week, to ourself for next year. Let's give ourselves the gift of peace, joy, or whatever it is you choose. Give yourself the gift of being empowered and free. Cherish your days, cherish your life. And as you share that positivity in whatever form you choose, may it be a positive influence on all those around you. Let's dedicate the time we practiced towards your most enlightened future, and ultimately the enlightened world where everybody's loved, everybody's cared for, everybody is intentionally choosing to live a wonderful life, taking time to stop from the busyness of the mind and being free to choose, completely free of any old beliefs, completely free to choose, dedicating this time from today to freeing your own mind, to freeing all minds, that we have a world that's filled with love, care, and consciousness.
Wait, what happened? I'm gonna say thank you. I have to step away, but thank you.
Thank you for joining us.
No problem. Thank you.
Hey, how you doing?
Okay, to
Hello.
everybody on the live stream, thanks
Good.
for being here with
How are you?
us. We'll see